Hello, and welcome to this latest webinar in our series on international education and schools. And our webinar today is ISN Nice, Fostering a Dynamic Learning Environment in an Ever-Changing World. And I'm delighted to be here today with Mel Curtis, Head of School at ISN Nice in the south of France, and she's been there since November 2020. Mel has over 2 decades of educational experience in leadership. She brings a wealth of international experience, including leadership roles in the UK, Dubai, Switzerland, the USA, and across Europe. So, Mel, lovely to see you.
Nice to see you.
So let's start by setting the scene for our listeners. Please, can you tell us a bit about ISN Nice, and perhaps you can start with the location. It sounds absolutely fabulous. The sort of school buildings you've got and the amenities.
Yeah, sure. Very, very fortunate. We're on the airport side of Nice, so it's great access through the trams from Nice, from the airport. It's an IB school, so we offer the PYP, the primary years program, the middle years program, IGCSE, and we do preparation for the IB. But then, when our older students access their education, they have access to the IB diploma program, the IB certificate program, and our high school diploma. And we've got
Brilliant.
60 nationalities. The children, young learners are from 3 to 18 years. It's a diverse community, which is lovely to be part of because it's that international mindedness. It's the respect, the understanding of each other's culture. Yeah, it's a very special place.
And roughly how many nationalities have you got? Oh,
60, around 60 nationalities, so a real hub, yeah.
wonderful. So back to your own career and leadership. We heard that you've worked in the Middle East, Europe, and the US. But prior to joining ISN, you were the executive principal of the first outstanding IB World School in the Middle East, and later served as a chief economic officer for Europe. Isn't that right? And then you went on to the British International School of Chicago, where you were pioneering STEAM education in the region. And so that brings us back to this fascinating title, Fostering a Dynamic Learning Environment in an Ever Changing World. Um, so perhaps you can give us a bit more of an insight as to what you mean by that. I mean, what are the academics around that? And perhaps you can go into that in a bit more detail.
Yeah, sure. Throughout my career, I mean, I started in the UK as a head teacher, and I've always had that aspect of creativity. So when I moved overseas, you have a lot more autonomy, and starting in the Middle East. Very, very fortunate to have an amazing facility where we had an observatory, we had steam, even those many years ago. We had specialist facilities, and it's that dynamic environment that really, really allows the children, the young learners, to be creative themselves. So it's not just four walls. It's not just the stereotypical desks and chairs. It can be a very dynamic environment where the furniture may be a little bit different, the seating arrangements may be a little bit different to allow for collaboration, for that connectivity. So, whichever school I've been at, the most important thing is to make sure that the learning links to real life situations. So it's not just learning from a textbook. You can go on Google, you can go on Chrome, you can learn things like that. But it's about understanding the attitude, skills, and then knowledge. And it's about how you apply those skills and make sure that it's not just in the classroom setting. So when we work with our young people, especially here and Chicago in particular, because we're a first STEAM school because we're linked with MIT. Then it's very important to make sure you're ahead of the game. So it's about research based. It's about making sure that you're seeking new ideas. That doesn't mean to say that you throw the foundations out. The foundations are really important, but with AI in particular, everything is changing, and we need to, as teachers, be upskilled to make sure that our young people are accessing what they need to access, because education and schooling is not the same as it was 20 years ago. When I started as a head teacher, it was 30 years ago. So I've head teacher, director, and leading and opening new schools. The first thing you think of is the dynamic environment that the children need to be in, and then that sparks their curiosity, that sparks their excitement in learning, because that's what learning should be, exciting. One of the days where it's the humdrum of sit down and learn in rote. None of us really remember anything we learnt in rote. So it's really, really important to get them excited, get them involved, get them engaged, enable them to be part of that process, not something that's done to them.
And would you like to share with the audience now about your space centre, the Marine Learning Hub, and the Teaching Kitchen? They all sounded absolutely
Yeah,
fascinating.
they're very exciting, very exciting. So we're really lucky because we're part of Globe Educate. So we're part of a very large network, 60 plus schools. So the Space Centre, we work with our schools in Cyprus, and the Space Centre is a really dynamic space, as in it enables the students to work with STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, but it also involves AI technologies. So, we have at ISN Nice, we work very, very much on a focus of sustainability. We look at the Sustainable Development Goals. We're linked with Nice as a city on sustainability and the Nice Climate Summit. So we're trying to bring our space centre linked to sustainable cities. So the students will work with AI technologies. They'll look at the sustainable city projects that's linking to data analysis. We have webcams, we use drones, we use satellites. So they can actually go into the periphery. They can go into Nice. They can go into areas near to the school, and they can analyze the pollution. They can analyze the different aspects that link then back into sustainable well-being. And then we have our primary children will work with a terrarium. So that's looking at smart gardens. It's looking at, and we link with our garden in the school. So we've got a potager in the garden. So, our primary children will do one aspect. Our middle and high school will look at the sustainable cities. We've got a marine learning hub. So that started out linking with one of our other schools in Mallorca, so Agora Patal, and they have a very similar setting, but we will partner with them. So we look at marine biology, linking again into sustainable approaches. So, being so near to the Mediterranean is perfect here. So, our students have a full program from 3 to 16. And then the 17 and 18-year-olds work on environmental systems, which is an IB course. And they can access technologies through the Marine Learning Hub. It's an amazing space, amazing space. And then our teaching kitchen also tries to link into the other rooms. So our students have a garden just outside the school, and then they will use the farm to table resources. They will use the vegetables, the fruit, the herbs, and then they will work in the teaching kitchen, and then it makes connections to them. The children are so excited because it's different, and we're very lucky because we know we're one of the first schools that have got those centres, and the staff are all trained. We use the 3D printer as part of all that. Yeah, really exciting. very exciting.
And the very young children as well, what age do they start? Is
No,
it
no, 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 even the very little ones. I went in, last week, and, the nursery children were in there. They were talking about seaweed and the fish and everything. So, yeah, we do it all the way through school, because if you start from the beginning, then it builds up, rather than wait until they're older. Little children can access, learning like that very easily, very easily.
brilliant? So perhaps you could tell us a bit more about how you teach the different age ranges and what the curriculums are involved.
Yeah, sure. I mean, our primary curriculum is the primary years program. So, and we've been a PYP school for a long time, and we've just had a reaccreditation. So that was really nice to have. It's inquiry based learning. So it's based from, there's a curriculum, the staff plan that together, it's collaborative planning, but it's very much about curiosity, asking questions. It's not just knowledge based, because that's not how children learn anymore. It really isn't. We do teach the English national curriculum for English and mathematics. We feel that there's a rigor there, so we have a hybrid approach, which the IB are very happy with. Our middle years program is from grade 6, 7, and 8. Very much the same approaches to learning. It's about curiosity, it's about perseverance, it's about the IB learner profile. And then we go to our GCSEs, which is an external qualification, and then we move on to the IB diploma. We're one of the only schools in France that offer a high school diploma. So we are accredited by the Middle States Association, which allows us to offer a high school diploma. So that's really valuable to those students that feel the IB, full IB diploma is not for them. And we have a very, very experienced university counsellor and plans the pathways for those students. So we have 3 pathways, and our students all access university if that's what they want to do. Um,
And
but
parents who perhaps don't know much about the high school diploma, can you explain that that's more useful if people want American universities,
No,
for
not
example?
necessarily. No, no, they can use it for American universities, but we have students that will go to different countries. They have to have so many credits, so they have to make sure that they're in school, they're studying certain subjects, but it's not the whole piece of the IB. So for some students, the extended essay and the difficult bit in the middle that we call the core, that can be quite hard for some students. So we take that away from them, and they then plan their 6 subjects, and they have to get certain credits. They have to attend, they have to do all the other opportunities that the other students do, but it just takes the core away that can be quite hard for some students. But it still is accessible to universities, and they acknowledge it as well, which is great.
Right. And then I was interested to hear you mentioning the IGCSEs, which parents might think, oh, I thought this was an IB school. So can you explain again why
Yeah,
IGCSEs?
I mean, most schools will do a full MYP. And the history of ISN has always been that there's been IGCSE qualifications. So what we do is a hybrid. So, our parents and our students really value the IGCSE. It's an external qualification, externally marked, and is an international currency that any parents can use, any students can use. But we also don't just teach in that mode. So we do have some such subjects in the arts in particular, because we're very experienced at arts here, the performing arts, music, drama, theatre, and we do that as a pre-IB structure. So, it's not officially pre-IB, but that's the way we teach. So for some students, they can choose 2 or 3 IGCSEs. Some students may want 6 or 7. So it's very much a hybrid approach depending on that particular child. Um, they are ready for the IB diploma when they've gone through those 2 years. So it's a good foundation for them as well.
And very useful for families who are moving in the middle
Absolutely.
that
Yeah,
period that they can
absolutely.
continue what we're doing. Yes, that's great. Perhaps this is a useful time before we go back onto the IB diploma program, just to talk about how language comes into this, because you've got so many children from different nationalities. And are you an Anglophone school, or what does that mean? And how do families keep up their native language, but also if they've got children who are very linguistically
Sure. I mean, the school is English instruction. I mean, and that's what we are. But there's because we're in France, and we the children have French every day, from even the 3-year-olds. So we're not a bilingual school. So the students will be taught in English other than their language lessons. So the students will have French, and it's really important that we keep that French language going. But we also have a differentiation. So if children come in who can't speak any French, that's fine, absolutely fine. So they can become in the beginners lessons. So we split it into 3 sections. The school also offers Spanish, but then we also have world language department in school. So some of our students still want to keep up their language. So it could be Dutch, Italian, Chinese, Arabic. It can be any language depending on the needs of the students. So we have external teachers that join us, and they will come in and teach those students. And if they're doing a particular language for their IB, some of those external teachers will help them. If it's first language Italian, they will come and help them do that. We have an English additional language department in school as well. So we have a great neurodiversity department. So that looks at supporting students not just with language, but any specific challenges. But the EAL department, we have additional lessons for children that are coming in with very little English also. So a lot of our parents really value the fact that it's an English instructional school, because that's the language of business. So they really, really value that, and will bring children into ISN Nice with very little language in primary. They make such good progress because they are having these additional English languages, and also they're hearing children speak English all the time. So we value mother tongue. We value mother tongue in particular, but we do encourage them to speak English. But there's lots of support mechanisms in school for whatever language children come in with.
Oh, well, that's marvelous. So you must be tremendously proud of your 2024 IB diploma program results, but also that draws on from what we were talking about, bilingual, that you were awarded very high bilingual diplomas this year.
Yeah,
Could
we've
you?
always had high diploma, bilingual diploma program, and I think it's the makeup of the children that we bring in. So we do have a lot of language support. We make sure that languages are priority in the school. We have really experienced staff in school that are trained and see the value of that. So yeah, we were very, very proud. And gone are the days, thankfully, that you're in a league table, because that tells you nothing about a school, nothing. So it's about the progress that those children make, the commitment that they have, the work ethic, and I talk about academics plus. I always talk about that. So the academics should be a non-negotiable. You're going to get that. But universities don't just want the academics; they want the package. They want everything that the school can offer, and they want a student that is passionate about something. So we really create opportunities. It could be like yesterday, our middle school students went to the Banque Alimentaire in Nice. And they collected items of food, and they went to go and share that in the community. That's something that's really important because it builds character. So we are proud of results, but we're also proud of that journey that those students go on. And they may not get the highest result, but my goodness, they will have worked their socks off to have got that mark. So we're proud of all our students at whatever level they're at.
And obviously the parents, they seem to be quite involved with the school as well. You've got some wonderful videos, I have to say, on your website, with all different angles, from um, pupils of different ages and what they've learnt along the way, plus the different academic staff. But there are some very captivating videos, I thought, with comments from the parents. Our audience and international parents, obviously, it's a big thing, isn't it, to move school, to move location. So parents are looking to be very aspirational and want the best for their children. So that must be quite challenging at times. You're dealing with very people who are very switched on about what they want. How do you involve the parents, and are they supportive? But how
I
do they
I think
appreciate
I think it's refreshing to have switched on parents.
it?
It's really, really lovely because you can have really good conversations about learning, and they are aspirational. They want the very best for the children, don't we all, as parents? But I think it's really important. We do a very strong induction program for new children starting school, and we take children all the way through the year as well. So we're very mindful of that. But it's really important to do an induction and support network for those parents that come, because sometimes it can be very lonely. You know, you drop your child off at school and then you go, whoa, okay, what do I do now? I'm not in the country. I've moved. We have a very strong parent teacher association. Um, and we have a social event at the beginning of the year. So all the new parents are together. They made those connections. And we're just very mindful as well. We have parent reps, so they represent each grade. So we're just very mindful that nobody gets left behind. I mean, some parents don't want to be particularly engaged every day, but they do want to be involved socially. So for us at ISN Nice, the parent induction is as important as the child's induction, because we want happy parents, don't we all? We want happy parents. We want them to feel as though they can contact school at any point. We're an open door policy. We always have been. We're always available. I'm on the gate every morning. Every morning, so I see every child come through those gates. My staff are responsive. They're on emails. They pick up the phone, and we just really want to engage parents in the community, but also in that journey of their child's learning. And that's just building the trust, building the respect, and building that professional approach, because it's it's a triangle, isn't it? It can't be just two, it has to be three: student, family, and school. We work really hard at that as well.
Brilliant. And what have you picked up about where the young people are going, and what sort of careers are coming out the other end? They're coming out with
Yeah,
lots
it's an interesting one, that, because I
yeah.
do think it's changed over the last few years. Very much business, very much entrepreneurial, and that's why it's really important that you adapt the way that you are. So you've got to make it a real life learning experience in school, because that's what they're doing. They're wanting to run their own businesses, and they are changing from sciences, really, really interesting. And they're wanting to look at economics, business management. Of course, they need the English, maths, and a language. And that's the beauty of the IB diploma. You cannot take the IB diploma without continuing maths. You have to do a mathematical aspect of it, and you have to keep a language. And in this world, you have to have at least two languages, to actually be successful out there. One language is not enough anymore. Um, yeah, I mean, the students are a different way of thinking. And AI in particular, this is why we've really gone for the Space Centre. It's also having those conversations with students about integrity, about ethics, about how they use things. I mean, using AI is a positive. It's not a negative. It's about how you use it. And, because they can actually use the AI technologies in particular, they are experienced that actually analyzing data, but making a difference with that. So it's just being ahead of the game, and it's talking to students. We have leadership positions in School of Students. I meet with them every Wednesday. And we really need to listen. We really need to listen because the world is changing. The world is changing for those young people. And I think post COVID, I think even more so. We have a very, very strong pastoral department here. So we have a school counsellor, I have a director of pastoral care. And for us, the pastoral is the foundation. So, we have to have healthy, mentally healthy students. We have to have them feel safe in school and being able to share their thoughts and to have people to go to if they need that support. And we have that support for parents as well. But pastoral has to be the base. You can't have everything else unless that they need to feel safe. They need to feel as though they belong. And that's something we work really, really hard at here.
Mm. So this is a rounded education that brings about resilient, future-thinking young
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and that's, what schools have to do. I mean, we're all very, very privileged to be in the position that we're in. I mean, I see myself, I know I've been, in leadership a long time, but I feel as I'm in a privileged position because, you can make a huge difference. And if you get the right people that are within the school, then the difference is incredible, incredible. And you have the autonomy to do that as well.
So you were talking there about the mix of staff and teachers as well. Yes, from all over the world as well, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, they have to have a very good grasp on English, of course, because English is the instructional language. But no, we have them from all over. European, American, Canadian, Portuguese, everybody. And that's the beauty of an IB school because that is the whole point of it is international.
mm,
And that's nice because our students, they see that mix. They have the mix within their own peer group anyway. But when you have a mix of adults as well, it's rich. It gives a rich feeling. Yeah.
yes. Well, it certainly sounds very, very rich and exciting learning environment. So, just as we round up, what's next for ISN? Do you think in terms of innovation and development, or other areas?
Well, I mean, what we really want to do is to embed these three areas this year for sure. We are a Middle States Association accredited school, so we're incredibly proud that we had all our reaccreditations last year and came out fantastic. Middle States Association reaccreditation is coming up in 18 months, and we are working towards being a research based school. So
Oh,
we are looking at research based on parental engagement, actually. So and looking at parental engagement linked to languages, linked to culture. So that's a very, very exciting next 18 months, 2 years ahead. And we've just been awarded the Athlete Friendly Education Centre as of yesterday. So that's excellent. We've got some amazing sports athletes, so we really want to celebrate that and be able to work with those students to be able to access a qualification, but also access high level tennis, skateboarding, karting, football. So really pleased yesterday to be awarded that.
brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That's a wonderful point to stop. So we've really enjoyed speaking to you today. Mel Curtis, head of school at ISN International School. And we're going to just show details now of the admissions manager, Ona Apatine at ISN Nice in France. And here are details of Mel Curtis and her background, as you'll see there. And I'm Fiona Murchie, managing editor of Relocate Global and Think Global People. And this has been part of our series of education and schools webinars to inform parents, employers, and schools and relocation and global mobility teams about the value of education and schools around the world. So thank you very much, Mel, for joining us.